Sam Darnold battles the Chiefs, and Cam Ward disappoints again. Here's your week 2 of preseason recap. Let's talk sports. Guys, I just want to tell y'all, week 2 of the preseason has officially kicked off in the NFL, guys. And I'm very excited to be talking about week 2. We got a lot of goddamn games. I mean, we got triple headers. We got so many different other games that are going to be coming on Saturday, Sunday. There's even going to be a Monday game, guys. We got so much recap content coming out for y'all. But today was definitely a great day for Friday Night Football. I mean, for some good preseason football, I think this might be one of the best performances, on preseason football. I remember, watching preseason week 1, and preseason week 1, there were so many mistakes, games weren't really, getting anywhere. Not a lot of close games. If there was any close games, there was only a couple. And, there was a lot of injuries, too, in preseason week 1. Definitely already, there was only a couple of injuries, from, both games that happened today. So we're going to talk about each of these, each of these games, guys. And sorry for my stutter there. It's been a long night. It's been a long day of watching football. But, guys, as I'm going to tell y'all, we're going to be getting into, the Tennessee Titans. And we're going to be getting into how did they perform, against a team that, I'll be real, guys, looks very promising. The Atlanta Falcons, I will say, they look very promising. I could see them, maybe make a run in the NFC South. Maybe that happens. The only thing that's always stopping Atlanta is the Bucs. The Buccaneers are always stopping the Atlanta Falcons every time they get close. Somehow, even if they lose a bunch of goddamn games, the NFC South is so ass that the Falcons somehow always sneak their way into there trying to get that wild card spot. And obviously the Bucs took that wild card spot back, in 2024. But now I guess they're looking for revenge. Now you got Michael Penix Jr., which, is one of the rookies from, in 2024. Looks really great. I mean, this guy looks like he's ready to play his goddamn ass off, ready to go insane. Really like the confidence. I really like the training camp, too. Some of that stuff is really cool to see. But obviously he didn't play in this preseason game, and I would really not hope to. He's a starter QB. But guys, who did start today in this game, the Tennessee Titans, is the rookie quarterback Cam Ward. And once again, I was hoping for, week 2, maybe week 2 of Cam Ward, maybe he'll actually be able to get some passes out. Maybe he can get a touchdown drive going. And, well, and I'll be honest, guys, looking at Cam Ward's performance, he got a pass. He got a 35-yard pretty big pass, and that's a pretty impressive pass, I will say that. But I will also say this, the way that, the Falcons were easily getting past the Tennessee offensive line was, like, crazy. And, they finally, they got better, as the game went on. The offensive line really tightened up. They really got the run game going, and they kind of kept just doing the run game for the whole entire game. And I will say, the Tennessee run game, it was pretty good, because I do think, the way that, they were easily, running through this Falcons offense. I mean, as I was watching this game, guys, I realized something. I was going, okay, well, the defense, they can really, pass rush like a motherfucker. They can really go crazy. But when they're really trying to, get through that offensive line and really start going after that running back, you weren't seeing a lot of that. You were seeing a lot of the offensive line really stop and really let, the running backs really do their thing. There was a moment where, one running back, just did a whole ass, cut route, stiff arm, and then touchdown. It was, kind of crazy to watch. I was like, okay, Tennessee Titans, really do your thing here. But Cam Ward's performance, there's no better way to say it. It was just absolutely, abysmal. It was absolutely disappointing. Once again, I mean, you had Shedeur Sanders from the Cleveland Browns The Cleveland Browns. Let me say that again. The Cleveland Browns. You had the Cleveland Browns actually, put together a really great 2-score touchdown game. And Shedeur Sanders was easily able to do that. And then you look at Cam Ward and, you just see, able to get one good pass. And I understand that, it's hard, in the NFL, but this guy can't even get a ball off. I mean, it is kind of going crazy. I mean, I did like, though, there was some good scrambling, though, the way he was able to get outside of the defensive, backs coming at him. I like how he's able to, scramble out of the pocket, etc. That was a really cool thing to see, in my opinion. I like when quarterbacks can really do that. To be a 2025 quarterback, the mobility, you have to absolutely be able to get out of those defensive, hurdles, or else, you run into this situation where Cam Ward is holding on to the ball way too much, and then he easily gets sacked. Going through the defensive line, throwing passes that are illegal. It's just like, holy shit, calm down. And this is why this is the preseason. It's good to get this stuff off in the preseason. Get all these, I guess you could say get all the college nerves out of you. Because, you're playing college football, you jump into the NFL, it's going to be a little nerve-wracking, especially when you're going up against, honestly, I would say a pretty improved Atlanta Falcons defense. Now, will this defense, make a really big improvement like the Atlanta Falcons are talking, like their defensive, rookies are really going to go goddamn crazy in the regular season? I don't know. And, also the fact, too, guys, I really do not like that Cam Ward, couldn't even get a pass off. I think that really shows that, I think there is still some college game jitters. And I think we're going to need preseason week 3 and maybe even preseason week 4. Preseason week 3. He might need preseason week 3 to get some more nerves out, get more of those college nerves out before he goes in the big, regular season games. So, I would say overall, Cam Ward's performance was overall pretty disappointing. But I really do like Tennessee's other people. Let's talk about some of the running backs from Tennessee today. Now, one of the running backs that I really enjoyed watching today from, the Tennessee Titans was definitely, guys, I will have to say, Jamar Jefferson. Guys, the way Jamar Jefferson was easily cutting through this defensive line, easily getting in there, easily getting into those touchdowns, I mean, it was just so great to see. I really liked the way they were moving the ball. Another running back, too, that was, absolutely going crazy, too, was Julius Chestnut. Julius Chestnut was really getting those first downs. I really liked how he was doing on this game. Guys, I really enjoyed the running game from Tennessee on this game. Now, the quarterback side of the ball, even their other guy that came in, and I don't even know his name. I don't even care to look for his name. The other guy that they had, he absolutely did nothing. I mean, holy shit. He had a couple of passes, but it was a couple of passes, and that was kind of it. They kind of just relied on that run game to really get in there, to really get to that end zone. And I will say this, too. Defense side of the ball from the Tennessee Titans was actually really good. I really loved the aggressiveness. I really loved how the Tennessee Titans, kept attacking at the ball, kept leading, the Falcons not able to even get a score, to even get a field goal. There were so many punts, from the Falcons, and there was even a lot of punts from the Tennessee side too. But I will say, the way the Tennessee defense was attacking was an easy 7 out of 10. I really loved how the defense played today. It was just so fantastic. Grading Cam Ward's performance out of 10, it was just terrible today. But there was one good flash pass that makes you excited for the future of what Cam Ward could really bring to the table. So I'm going to easily give like a 5 out of 10, and hopefully Cam Ward can keep improving that on, week 3 of preseason, if he's even playing that, I don't know. But yeah, I really do not like overall the offensive performance of Tennessee, because they kind of relied, it was really just run heavy, and I really love run heavy, and really good defensive play too. Even if they're getting a lot of first downs, the Falcons defense is going to stop you and make you only get a field goal. So I do like that. But, the score today on this game, guys, it was won by a field goal. By Tennessee, no less, because Tennessee actually won this game. It was 23-20. Atlanta Falcons were able to tie it up, but, once they tied it up, they kind of gave up when Tennessee, did a field goal, and then, it was kind of over for there. Now, let's talk about the offensive side of the Falcons, and we'll go over the defensive side, too, and rate those two sides, too, right after this break. Now, as we talk about the Falcons side of the ball, guys, I will say this. I really do enjoy the Falcons' defense. I think what they showed, the takeaways, the interceptions, the amount of punts that they forced against Tennessee, the way that this defense was able to basically spark, life back into the offense. Now, that spark did go away because, Tennessee scored a field goal, and I guess, they gave up playing the goddamn game. But what we saw from the defense today from the Atlanta side looks absolutely fantastic. I love the way they were wrapping up. Love the way the tackling was today. The way the aggressive defense, the interceptions. It just shows that, Atlanta is going to be a problem. Their team is going to be an issue. Their team, they might not get as many wins, as, like a team like, I'll say maybe like the Green Bay Packers or, etc. But what they will do? They will put this team to war. Any team they go against, they will put them through war. It will be a long-ass game. The Falcons are going to probably tie it up with you. Their defense are easily going to stop your quarterback, etc. So, the pass rush today was absolutely beautiful. My only complaint about the defense was, we need more wrapping up with, they need to attack that offensive line even more. They need to get to the running backs even more, because I do feel like these running backs today did have an easy day. The way the Falcons were kind of dropped back, waiting for a pass, etc. Your players really drop back. Well, when the players are really dropped back, and then, you got a strong, Tennessee Titans offensive line that are really holding those linemen away. Those running backs are easily going to get through that line. They're going to shred through that line. They're going to get all those yards, etc., etc., etc. So I really need, for preseason week 3 or some shit, or the regular season, we need the Atlanta Falcons defense even more heavy, even more attacking that run, stopping the run and stopping the pass. Because once you can stop the run, you can win the football game. The problem is, Tennessee Titans, they relied on their run game at the end of the game, and they got a field goal. Well, when that goddamn happens, it's really disappointing. So, look, Atlanta didn't win, but it's just a preseason game, so it doesn't really matter either way. But I am gonna rate them, guys. Probably, I would say for the defensive side, 7 out of 10. But I really want them to be at an 8. I really like how they were attacking the pass, but they need to be an 8. They need to be able to stop the run and everything. So I really need them to do even better for the next game, for the regular season, etc. But this is a great, exciting look into the future, what we could be seeing from the Atlanta Falcons. So I really do want to see that, And I will be real, guys, too. One of the things that I didn't really enjoy from the side of the ball today, from the defensive side of the Atlanta Falcons, was the run game. I feel like they just let the running backs kind of, carry this game. There was moments where they were just getting, 10 yards, 20 yards, just shredding. These Tennessee Titans were at the 20, they were at the 30, they were at the 40, they were already at the 50. They were already at field goal range so fast. And I feel like as a defensive unit, and now as, the kickoff rules makes it where field goals are a lot more attainable now. You have to really stop that run game. You have to really stop that pass game, because there's going to be situations where, well, we're going to get a field goal. Stop us for 3 fucking tries. Fuck it. We're just going to get a field goal. We're going to run down the clock, and we're just going to get a field goal. I mean, Because that's how the new meta probably the NFL is going to be for a lot of teams, because it's so easy now to get to get a lot of field goals. So I definitely need that from them. And then also, guys, one of the things that I definitely do need from this team is the running backs of the Atlanta Falcons. They need to get the run game a lot more. I really like the beginning. The first half of the game, they were doing a lot of, run-heavy plays. So once they, set up for the play action really worked out. The rollout passes really worked really well, too. But then they kind of gave that up in the third or fourth quarter. They stopped, putting that, run game, stopped putting that, heaviness on the throwing. It just felt like they kind of gave up at the third or fourth quarter. So I really like what Easton Stick did. I really liked how, there was moments where he couldn't throw the ball, so he ran for like 30 goddamn yards, and he just, went fucking, crazy and ran, half of his goddamn ass off. Now, try to do that in the regular season, you might get blown up because, of course, the defensive players are not going to be playing at their full best. And this is the Tennessee Titans, so you always have to keep that in mind, too, for any plays that you run. But I really do like how Easton Stick really came out here, threw out some really great play-action passes, some really great rollout passes, and overall his QB performance was absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, I really enjoyed what the Atlanta Falcons did. For the defensive side, they're going to get a 7. I want them to be at an 8, though. And then for the offensive side of the ball, they're going to get a 5. And the reason why they're going to get a 5 is because they did lose this game, and they also kind of gave up at the third and fourth quarters. So even though their defense was hungry and their defense tied the game up for them, they made it where a tie was possible. The Atlanta Falcons offense, they stopped being hungry, right after. So that's going to be my two scores for the Atlanta Falcons. I will say players of the game is easily going to be, like Jefferson from the running back today from the Tennessee Titans. And then definitely a star player on this preseason game was definitely Easton Stick. I mean, he made some big-ass, deep-ass passes. I mean, it was absolutely fantastic to see, guys. I really enjoyed what I saw from Easton Stick. And, maybe they'll keep this up in preseason week 3. And who knows, they might actually win preseason week 3, They might actually, Easton Stick might really lock in and get a lot more points. I really liked what they did here. Some really great touchdown passes, too, from Easton Stick. I mean, the overall performance of this game was really good. The start of this game was kind of bad. It stayed at 6-0 for the whole entire game. I kept saying, this is just a defensive game. And my eyes were definitely correct what I was watching. And even when they tied it up, it was really sad when the Tennessee Titans kind of easily marched up the field and easily got a field goal. Yeah, I really was hoping this defense was going to keep the aggressiveness. They kept the aggressiveness on the pass rush, but then the Tennessee Titans said, okay, we're not going to pass the ball, we're going to run the ball, and then we're back at the same situation. They're at the 20, they're at the 30, they're at the 40, they're at the 50. Boom, 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 field goal range. All fucking ready. I mean, that's how fast sometimes this shit happens. And I feel like the Atlanta Falcons got to be ready for that, in my opinion. So, yeah, I really enjoyed what I saw today of this preseason game. I love a good defensive battle. I really like watching good defense. And I would say the Atlanta Falcons and the Tennessee Titans, surprisingly, these two teams played really good defense. So that's something I have to definitely give praise for. But guys, let's get off this game now. I think I've been talking about this game way too much. I really enjoyed this game 23-20, but the Tennessee Titans did win. So I'm really disappointed in the Atlanta Falcons. But another team that got their ass absolutely fucking handed to them. I mean, the devil got whipped themselves. The devil got sent back to goddamn hell. I mean, you put the devil back into a torturing chamber because, guys, for the next game, that game was at 6 p.m. This game was at 9 p.m. This game went on for a long-ass time. I mean, it's 12 a.m. now, guys, as I'm recording this. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Seattle Seahawks. I said in my schedule review, guys, I said the Seattle's third and fourth string guys are so fucking good they are probably going to beat the Chiefs' ass. And I even predicted that the Seattle Seahawks would win by at least 30, and they won by 33, guys. So let's get into talking about this game, guys, right after the break. Now, before we talk about the Chiefs side of the ball, let's start talking about the Seattle side. Let's go over some of the top players that I really enjoyed watching today from the Seattle side. Now, first of all, Sam Darnold absolutely showed out today. I really loved what Sam Darnold's performance. He came in there with a 10-play touchdown. 10-play touchdown. I mean, it was just beautiful to watch, guys, in my opinion. Sam Darnold absolutely did his thing here, in my opinion. And also, too, guys, one of the things that I really loved watching, too, was these wide receivers. You know, Torrey Horton, you know, easily catching these balls, easily catching them. It was just beautiful to see. And also, too, guys, even the next quarterback, too. I'm going to say this, Drew Lock. Drew Lock played a fantastic game, too. You know, he absolutely was slinging that goddamn ball, making these touchdown passes easily with ease. And these running backs, these fucking running backs, you know, Damian Martinez, I mean, holy shit. You know, Robbie Quitz, you know, so many running backs on here that were just absolutely shredding the defensive line from the Chiefs. It was kind of funny. You know, Zach Corbonnet, I mean, just absolutely insane. You know, Tyrone Broden, you know, it's just like these players were just going absolutely insane. And then, once you think, you know, what's the next? What's the next quarterback going to be doing in this game? You know, the fourth quarter, they get another quarterback on. And, hey. And also, too, guys, you know, one of the star players that you had today was Jalen Moore. Jalen Moore came on there and absolutely played a fantastic game, in my opinion. Slinging the rock. Doing his goddamn thing. I mean, it was beautiful to see, in my opinion. Guys, the Seattle Seahawks are absolutely fantastic. That offensive line is so goddamn good. The way they're able to not even let the defense penetrate through at all. Just letting the run game go absolutely insane. It was just beautiful to see, in my opinion. I really enjoyed what the Seattle Seahawks did in this game. And the score was 16-33. Seattle Seahawks, with all their QBs, all their running backs today, completely dogged on the goddamn third and fourth string Chiefs. And honestly, they should definitely keep doing that, because the Chiefs need that kind of beating. And this is the preseason, so who really, you know, cares? And, you know, I will say this too, though. You know, Kansas City did get some touchdowns. You know, they did mostly punts, though. That's what I'll definitely say. They did get some touchdowns, but there was a lot of more, like, punts, in my opinion. And then the Seattle defense. The defensive side of the ball was just so great to watch. You know, Tennessee Titans and Atlanta Falcons, they were good defense-wise, but this is what I'm talking about. This is what I want to see. This is an 8 out of 10 defensive performance. They're attacking the quarterback. You're attacking the running back. They're stopping the run game. They're stopping the pass game. They are making sure they're staying aggressive throughout the whole entire game. And it shows that Seattle actually might be building something really good. You know, there was a lot of people that said Seattle's not going to be a really good team, but I'm going to be honest, guys, you know, if their third and fourth string guys are going crazy, well, get Sam Darnold on here, and we're going to have a fantastic time. We're going to have a great time because of the offensive line keeping us together. And let's talk about Sam Darnold now, because I want to talk about him real quick. 10 plays on the scoring drive, completely coming right out the gate, you know, throwing great short passes, easily getting those first downs, easily getting out to the 20, to the 40, to the 50, to all the way to an easy touchdown pass. You know, not a touchdown pass. It was a running back touchdown. But the running back game was so good. They even had the running backs on here. The running backs were completely shredding through that Chiefs defense. It was just absolutely embarrassing to watch the Chiefs get just absolutely pummeled. And let's talk about the Chiefs. The Chiefs had some touchdowns. They had a couple of touchdowns, mostly some field goals, but mostly a lot of goddamn punts. Defensive side of the ball was not great at all. They barely were getting through the offensive line. They weren't really aggressive. They were kind of just chilling. I mean, when you got players laughing, as they're scrambling to the touchdown line, I mean, you got the Chiefs players laughing, and, it just shows what we're saying here. It's just kind of disappointing to see that. So, I really do not like the Chiefs' defensive performance today. And then their offensive performance. So many missed passes. Run game was not able to go anywhere because they were just easily getting stopped. And it really shows that without the Chiefs stars, man, Chiefs would be looking a little rough. Now, thankfully, this isn't like an important game. So, you can't be like, Andy Reid's not going to be going crazy coaching this game. I don't even think he might even be coaching this one. He might be letting his other people just take over for this game. Just let them do the work. Because that's how these preseason games work. He's getting ready for the regular season. That's what he's using all his brain power for. But I really wish these third and fourth string Chiefs players played well. Proved that they would still want to keep their jobs. I mean, it was just disappointing to see the performance today. So the offensive side of the ball is going to get a 4 out of 10. And then the defensive side is easily going to get like a fucking 2 out of 10. So yeah, guys. Today, for week 2 of the preseason, I really did enjoy the Tennessee versus, the Falcons. That match was really close, a really good defensive battle. I liked watching the Seattle Hawks dominate the Chiefs for a while. I always love seeing the Chiefs lose, even if it's preseason Chiefs, seeing the devil go down, seeing the devil, even if technically, the devil players are not there, it's the third and fourth string, veterans, or the rookies too, obviously. So they might not have the devil's curse yet, but, I do want to see them lose. I do want to see Jesus football continue to win football games. So, yeah, I really like seeing Seattle beat the Chiefs 16-33, completely smacked the goddamn Chiefs. So, guys, let me know, did you enjoy preseason week 2? Did you enjoy all the games that came out today, the 2 games? And are you excited for the future of preseason week 2? And are you excited for, guys, the regular season coming up in September, guys? I'm so excited for all this, guys. So excited to talk about the next line of games. We got a lot more games on Saturday, guys. I mean, we got a pretty long episode today, but I'm not going to lie, guys, Saturday episode's going to be even longer. So make sure you're ready for Saturday, guys, because we got, like, triple headers. We got games at night. We got etc., etc. So there's so many games happening on Saturday, so many games happening on Sunday. It is just great to see football fully back, guys. And yeah, my Pandora people, if you're on Pandora, make sure you follow, guys. We're dropping NFL content all year, sports content, all for the rest of the year. So my Pandora people, this show is made especially for you. And if you're on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast at, make sure you follow, turn on notifications, guys. We're dropping new content every single day, guys. I really liked what Sam Darnold did today. It's got me excited to see what he can do. Now, is Sam Darnold going to play really good like in the Vikings, and then he's going to fall off at the end? Or is it going to be he plays good throughout the whole entire year? Or maybe he plays bad at the start of the year. I don't know. We'll have to see. And then I'm really excited, really excited for Cam Ward in the future. Not very excited right now for preseason-wise. Definitely getting those reps in, getting those ropes in, figuring stuff out. You're a college rookie going into the NFL. It's gonna take some time to get used to, but hopefully week 3 we can iron some of this stuff out. And the Titans still won their game. So, hey, it wasn't all bad, guys. So I'll see y'all later. You have a good one. Yeah. Bye.